Welcome to Mobile Agent TV. I am Michael Thorne of Remax Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC, and our co-host, as always, is Dave Flockwer from Bridgewater, New Jersey's Remax Preferred Professionals in the Enviro Realty team. Dave, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing well, but not as good as you guys.
Not as good as us. Now, just so everyone knows that is watching, I've got the headphones in because we're at the after party of AREAA 2014 here in Vancouver. And so these people can't hear what you're saying, and we'll chat for a little bit, Dave, and then we'll, well, you said it's past your bedtime. I didn't say that, but it's past your bedtime. So just want a couple things. Dave, you saw that episode. I got interviewed on The Niche Agent, which was kind of cool, from Ryan Smith, and sort of got to talk about the catalyst of Mobile Agent TV and how it all came about and what you and I have sort of learned from it. So you can go to thenicheagent.com and you can watch that video and listen to the audio podcast. I think it was a fun interview to see someone else doing what we're wanting to do, is to share with other agents and improve the industry overall. Yeah,
it was cool. I watched the whole thing. I was, you know, and I had you saw my takeaway I put on Facebook.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
No spell check and video. That's what you liked. That was the best.
Yeah, there is no spell check on video, and that's why I like to do it, because I'm not the best speller in the world. So one other thing, Dave, before we let you go, Nathan Dart is going to be our guest on this Friday's show at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern at mobileagenttv.com. And what we're going to be talking about is that internet leads convert as an industry about 1%, and Nathan's converting, him and his team are converting internet leads at 22%. In fact, Tony was there. I heard him speak over at the Richard Robbins conference as well, and I think he's got a really great strategy. I mean, it really comes down to a lot of hard work, but I think it's going to be a really great interview this Friday at Mobile Agent TV. So that's going to be great.
I'm really looking forward to it, because we actually had we have a lead generator called Zirple, and we had a meeting today and a webinar with our team about that exact subject, about incubating internet leads. So I'm really very interested to hear what he has to say, how he gets that high conversion rate like that.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Now, Dave, is there anything you want to say? I mean, you know a couple of these, two of these people really well on our panel. Anything you want me to pass along to them?
Well, just don't drink too much. You probably got class tomorrow, you know, so make sure you let them know that.
Behave yourself.
Nice. Raj, I don't know well enough, but I think he can probably hold his own. And Teri, you got to behave yourself.
Okay. Well, thanks, Dave. Thanks for checking in. I'm glad you did. It wouldn't be the same without you. I didn't want to do a show without you. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on Friday.
Have fun. See you guys later.
Thanks, Dave.
Good stuff.
All right, so let's get into this now. I'd like to introduce our little panel that we have today, our little debrief. People that are familiar with the show definitely know Teri Conrad. Oh, Dave's still there. Hi, Dave. Dave's gone now. Teri Conrad, welcome back to the show. This is stop number 3 or 4 for you. Raj Qsar, stop number 3 on the show. And introduce you to Tony Joe of Remax in Victoria. What's the name of the Remax?
Remax Camosun.
Remax Camosun. And I'm actually going to turn it over to you right away, Tony, because this is AREAA. You're a director of AREAA, so those people that might not know what it is, just let us know what AREAA is.
It's the Asian Real Estate Association of America. That is the name, although this is the Vancouver chapter, and it is the first Canadian chapter. So it's great. It makes a lot of sense, actually, to be here. Of course, this is like the gateway to Asia. Here we are on the Pacific Northwest, and not only that, but of course the population and the clientele here are getting more Asian.
And so, what do you think the overall? Because it wasn't just. I mean, a lot of the people in the audience weren't Asian. I think predominantly weren't Asian. So what is it that people that aren't from that culture sort of should be keeping their eye on if they want to start continuing to build? And we're not just talking Vancouver. We're talking San Francisco, or Chicago was represented here. There's a lot of places that there is an influx of Asian buyers.
Well, you know, it really boils down to real estate professionals just self-educating and figuring out how they can serve clients of, you know, it's no different than different age demographics. It's also different cultures. So coming to an event like this is great because they learn all about the different cultures.
And tell us, you guys are having your big annual main conference in Las Vegas at the Bellagio.
September. Okay. So the Asian Real Estate Association, it has a lot of conferences, and And you know, one of the neat things about this organization is, I mean, you guys saw the level of speakers that are here. Well, you. And I mean, we don't have much of a budget, right? So it's not like this is an organization that can pay for speakers to come, but people come up here because they want to. You want to check it out. You didn't even know it was in another country.
No, I had no idea.
So anyways, great to have you. And this is what AREAA does, and does it very well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And on that note, I mean, we joked about it a little bit on the bomb that we sent out to all our viewers to sort of tease the show, but this is your first trip to Canada.
First time ever.
Yeah.
I love it. It's beautiful here. It really is. I'll definitely be back.
Fantastic. And, you know, that's he feels about that for the coast to coast. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to sort of have you guys come in and look at some of the takeaways that we had from today's show, from today's conference. And there was, it really focused a lot on technology and a lot on the luxury market. So, Teri, what do you think's for you sort of the common theme throughout the day, if there was one or two common themes throughout the day?
Well, I think the global networking concept, and that global doesn't necessarily mean somewhere else. It can be very hyper-local as well, and that the cultures are, because we're mixing it up so much and people are moving, the world is getting flatter and everyone's more connected, right? That it's just this concept that, you know, are you prepared to deal with the cultural changes in the marketplace?
And one of the quotes was, thinking globally, locally, that you kind of liked as a takeaway.
Yeah, I love that.
And what do you think that would mean for you?
So in our neighborhood, so we work in Langley, and we have had a big influx of Korean culture in our market. And what does that mean in terms of, you know, servicing your clients and helping them have their transactions smoother, and what kind of service do they expect? Because there's a cultural expectation there, and you know, if you're not prepared to sort of service that, then you might drop the ball. You might not be doing the best service to your clients. So, and
one of the things we thought about this right away after we were talking about it was, if the internet is a place for consumers to find you, if that information isn't being provided in their language, they will go somewhere else to try to find that information.
I love that, because we always talk about responsive websites and making things look really pretty and sexy, but if they have absolutely no idea where they are or what, you know, how to contact you, like, so someone mentioned, you know, do you have your national number in front of it? And things that we just don't think about.
Don't think about.
Yeah.
And I know primarily our REMAX show is that, I know on global.remax.com, everything's translated into a lot of different languages, but that's just not fine-tuning maybe some of the information you're providing on a community level and for you as an individual agent. And so is that something you guys have done, because you're a very multicultural area in Victoria, or you try to cater to that?
Well, I sort of cheated a little bit, because we know that there's a lot of mainland Chinese net migration in Victoria. So instead of me learning the language and learning the culture, I just got a guy. So I got the Chinese guy. And the guy.
I love having a guy. We all need a guy. We've got a few guys in Orange County. We do.
You need a guy. But you know, the thing is, we figured when you go out and you promote internationally, like you promote to China, and you get onto their, you know, their version of Google, their version of YouTube, which is different.
Yeah.
The question is, what happens when you get inquiries? Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be able to handle them, especially if they're coming in Chinese character.
Right.
Yeah, which these young guys, like, they text on their iPhones using a QWERTY keyboard.
Yeah.
In Chinese.
In Chinese. Like, holy cow.
So this even goes back to our last episode that we talked about teams. It seems like that's another reason why teams in sort of these multicultural cities should be looking at, is building these teams and filling these niches, not only for, like, look at the demographic. And I know that there's a lot of teams that we've had, the Virginia and London teams done it in the past, where they've gone out and addressed sort of the population in their community and tried to fill buyers agents that would fill those spots so that they're not losing out.
We have found that one of the big things is the culture, because people speak the language. Like, there are a lot of people that speak several languages, but how about the cultural aspect, right?
Right.
Like, do they understand sort of how people negotiate, what their likes and desires are, and things like that?
So why don't you talk about maybe Raj talked about Nabu Hada, who sort of started the day off, and he had a really clear message about, he's the director of digital marketing for digital engagement for NAR, and there's a couple of interesting things, and one of the things that you really liked about him was this. I think it's a different quote that you had was, give your clients something they can't Google.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wrote that one down.
You know what? I absolutely love that from Nabu. So the great thing about Nobu is he's just so genuine. So he's a very well-spoken and soft-spoken guy.
Anyone for an appetizer?
Oh,
Super smart though.
But just
yeah.
Mobile Agent TV is
Oh, this
so
is-
fun.
this is-
hold on.
This is service.
Over here.
This is how all the shows happen. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So what I love about Nobu is he's brilliant, though. He just gets it. So he's a guy who used to have a real estate license, right? And used to sell homes, and he just gets it. So give your clients something they can't Google. I mean, that is bringing your value just to another level. Because I even tell my kids, just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Just if I don't know the answer, just Google it. So how great is that when you're working with someone and you're providing so much value, they can't Google what you're trying to give them.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
love that.
Because if they can Google it, they don't really need you.
They don't need you, right?
And it's, once again, it's this topic that we talked about a lot of time. Is becoming more than just the gatekeepers of the data. I mean, that's exactly what that means. Is they can Google the data, they can get their hands on the data. It's becoming larger than that information and providing value that no one else can. You know, schools and all that sort of stuff.
I was just going to say, so Peter Dupuis finished the evening, and what I loved, one of my big takeaways from him was, is that it's not information that's king, it's knowledge. So where agents have, I think, often struggled with what is my value, I don't understand if it is about, it used to be about the data, but now that's opening up. Well, we've been saying this for a while now, but the truth is it's, you know, it's the context, it's the expertise, it's the knowledge of the market, it's the knowledge of the product, it's the knowledge on how to market listings property so they sell at a higher price point. Those are the sorts of things that I think are really, really important in articulating that message really well, which is something you do so well.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're just having a glass of wine.
Oh, we're having this is the first evening.
This
is we've stolen a couple things from the. Thank you.
Okay,
We've stolen a couple things from the water cooler, but this might be the one. The fact that we're having a beverage.
Nobody finds it strange that we're talking to the computer.
It's a new world. But I think that's really where our value proposition is. I mean, what you're trying to do, Raj, and we've had an opportunity to speak a lot over the last couple of days, is provide an experience and a value proposition that not only can't you Google, that the competition can't or won't provide your client. And that's, I think, where everyone has an opportunity, and there's no really right answer for it, but provide a value that they can't get somewhere else. And it's something that I think you try to drive home with the amazing talk about video, and of course that's your strength. But it was this, and you've said it before on the show, you said it many times, you know, stop thinking like a real estate agent. And I think we are so focused on the listing contract and the subject removals that we're not thinking an opportunity to step outside and become larger.
Right, so that's what happens. So that's why the team is so essential, and that's just the buzz I kept hearing over and over from all the panelists was have a team, have a team, have a team. So yeah, right. You just can't be so stuck on the contract. You got to know it, and it's got to be prepared perfectly. But still, the creative and the marketing of those properties is so important. It's what will set you apart. So today, on stage, I just said that buyers recognize our listings from that first photo. They don't know which agent on our team has the listing, but they know it's a boutique listing. So I think it's that consistency over time, that sweat, that blood, that tears, you know, that you're doing every single time, walking through a home and thinking, where's that shot going to be? Because that's the shot that's going to resonate on all the portals, on all the social networks, on everything. That's the shot. So what is it going to be? So taking the time to think like that, as opposed to crown molding, beds, baths, square feet.
Formula.
You know,
There's
it's like
so much more than that. Like what you do isn't like video. I know is sort of your foundational piece that everyone likes to target and talk about. But the truth is every single touch point of every experience we've ever had with you is branded perfectly.
I mean, the business card today was impressive. I've never seen this one.
The business card, which looks like a credit card with a chip in it almost. I mean, it's just incredible. Every experience, you know when you see it immediately, it's the boutique brand, and I'm a brand girl, so that always speaks to me.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, you had this thing about, I don't know what's called in the States, but you have the obligation to post that listing within 20 or 48 hours. I think for us it's 72 hours you have to post it. So you go out and you have your clients sign something that lets you not post it. You take an exclusive listing that lets you do the creative. But you're not talking doing that 6 days or 8 days. You said today 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, it could take, depending on the listing, 30 to 45 days to get everything ready and organized. I mean, a lot of times let me step back. Like I said today, you're invading people's lives. You're coming into their home. You're moving furniture out of there. You're planting plants for them. You're power washing their house. You're cleaning their windows. I mean, you're totally invading their space. We're not thinking like agents there. We're thinking like, oh my gosh, like, you need some help? You hired us, let's help you.
Yeah.
And we need time to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like not just our team now it's like gardeners and painters and people come in to prep the home to get it ready for the money shot.
Yeah.
So it takes time.
Okay, and what does that conversation happen to? I mean, you and I spoke about the ability for a client to see your value, and sometimes if they can't see your value, then that's sometimes where that relationship ends. But what's that conversation like that's saying, okay, Raj, we've chosen you and your team, we want to put the house on the market, and what we have to wait 30 days to get it on?
Well, so our form gives us a choice to say 15 to 45 days, 15 to 30, 30 to 45. So it really just depends. So when they see what we're able to do for them and the results. So someone asked today in the audience, like, how fast did that home sell? Well, it's not really about how fast it sold, is what I really wanted to say, but it's that we got the highest price per square foot ever. We set a record for that home in that neighborhood.
That's the value to the client.
That's the value of the client. So if you give me time to let our team do what we do, these are the results you can expect.
Yes.
And it's proven time and time and time again.
Okay, Teri and I talked about that sort of value prop on the drive-in today, talking about if you can demonstrate to your client that if we do this, we spend the money, you're going to it's going to be more in your pocket when they return. What advice do you have for an agent that's had the aha moment, like you talked today, that wants to do it, that doesn't have 5, 6, 10 past sales that demonstrates that? How do you take that leap into doing something like this?
So it's all baby steps. I mean, what you guys saw today didn't happen overnight. That's years of planning, of strategy, of making a zillion mistakes. I mean, we made a ton of mistakes. We made some videos that aren't online because they're so bad, right? I mean, it's just trial and error. But my advice for that brand new agent is to just embrace everything that they have now, because everything they have now, none of us had 10 years ago at all. We had none of that, and people were still selling homes.
Don't you think there's a level, sorry to interrupt you, don't you think there's a level of overwhelm, though?
There
It's almost like
but there always is, though, right?
There always is. So
That's true.
agents are coming to our brokerage from other brokerages, and they come in, they're like, you can just see them like, you do what for a listing? What? You just don't take the pictures yourself and post them up?
Yeah.
No, we don't do that, and you will not do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like, I could take my time. Yes. Take a deep breath. Let's think about this. What city is it in? What neighborhood is it in? What are we going to talk about? What's that socially going to look like on the different platforms? Where are you going to push it? Right? So that is the difference when you have the time to focus on a strategy.
You know, the scary thing is what's going to happen next. Because presumably at some point in time, the rest of the competition will start doing these things too, and you got to be thinking ahead about what's the next thing.
So that's kind of fun. So I don't know if that's a good transition or not. So I know my friend Mark is out there listening, and he's got a really cool company, and it's called Room, R-U-H-M, Room.com. So you guys should really check that.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to them and hopefully have them on the show.
Yeah, I think Mark's going to be on the show with Michael and David. So, but it's a destination marketing company, and I think the brilliance there for a lot of us is there's so much to do as an agent. And today we talked about you can't do it all, especially at that level. And if you have something that's very special, a special property, $5, $10, $20 million. I spoke to a gal today who has a castle that she wants to list.
Yeah.
A castle.
A castle.
Are you kidding me? I mean, think about the story there. But Room is a destination marketing company, and I think if you guys get a chance to check them out on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and some of the work that they have done, it's absolutely brilliant. And it takes the work away from the agent, and they're able to provide the creative for the agent on very special listings. And
really neat creative. I mean, I was, a friend of the show, Valerie Garcia, that might be on a plane right now. And she's hoping she had Wi-Fi. Was talking about that. I mean, you're talking about choose your own adventure too, as well. I mean, you're talking about putting the storytelling in the hands of the consumer,
right?
And they get to control their experience, which is. We are trying to control experience for them, but now you're handing those keys over to them. And
so what Room's able to do is able to put hours and hours and hours into creative, which the standard traditional agent is not able, willing, and They just can't do it.
Well, we shouldn't be doing that. 'Cause
Right? On those special properties, it's absolutely unbelievable. But Mark's out there, and that Choose Your Adventure thing is really cool. I mean, you're engulfed. Like, you're in Hawaii on that $26 million home. Do you want to take the scenic route, or do you want to take the cautious route?
I love it.
It's really kind of cool, and it creates that emotion we talked about on stage today, that emotion with the buyer wanting. And when a buyer wants and they're emotional, they will buy. So I think it's brilliant on their part.
The best marketing always is pulling at those psychological ties, right? Like everything that kind of creates that emotional pull. And you do that so well. Like, you do it well too. So I was just saying, I watched somebody who I won't mention give a market report, and I was like, we had a little conversation about that, and I said, you know who did it really well though? And I said, I went to Tony Joe's site, and he did this market report, and it was freaking awesome. It was super engaging and so fun, and your personality comes across so well on video. So clearly, video's your platform.
Well, I mean, this is what you do as well. I mean, the whole point is to be able to articulate who you are to someone you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm all for having a client checking us out first for an extended amount of time, because you say it too. They make their choice before they make the call, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the neat thing about what technology gives us to it. Right?
Yeah.
You, Tony, moderated a pretty. I'm speaking to them, and I speak to you guys. You moderated. You moderated a pretty interesting panel today. It was basically, I think, it called what do you call it? The conflict, like showdown, the showdown between Gen Xers or baby boomers, Gen Xers versus millennials. Yeah. And I was expecting a very different panel. I don't know what you were expecting. I was expecting no, it's done this way, and no, it's done this way. And what we ended up getting was a lot of really smart agents agreeing on the way to do their business. Yes. It's not what I expected. So just what your takeaways from that particular panel was. Well, first of all, tell me what you expect, and then tell me what happened.
Well, so first of all, it was a large panel. So sometimes it's kind of hard to get the time that you need, right? But it wasn't just the age demographics, but it's the Asian Real Estate Association too. So we were trying to fold in there as well the sort of the cultural differences. But to your point, though, it's true actually. I think the panel was generally populated by people who understood this. But I think that's a point that maybe should have been a takeaway with the audience, which is to get to understand, to know what the difference is. And it's not just cultural. It's often age. And I think about it myself. I've been doing this like you for 23 years. You use moisturizer. You look great. And I have clients whose kids are buying real estate, and I'm like the old guy, but I got to understand, what it is that makes them tick, right?
But I mean, I think what I found very, very interesting. We had people on the panel into their 60s, right?
Yes.
Is that where John's?
Yes,
John's
John.
In his 60s, and we had young agents, and they basically kept on preaching the value of face-to-face. How they get to face-to-face might be different. How they engage that relationship, but everyone said this business doesn't work without face-to-face. Dave, you might be watching right now, and you might love that, but it wasn't all about that face-to-face. Ultimately, how you might get there might be different.
Okay, so you were thinking maybe that we would have had somebody that would have said, "Oh, no face-to-face."
Not no face-to-face, but there's a lot you could do through technology where you don't have to sit down and be belly to belly. I just thought we might hear some of that from the millennials.
We hear that all the time about millennials.
I think that's the fear.
Keep everything short and fast.
I think that's the fear that a lot of older agents are going to feel like they're in. It seems like we've heard it on the show that business might one day not be done face-to-face, which I think it's crazy. You could never, no matter how amazing your property tours are, Raj, they're still, not all the time, but the vast majority of the time, going to walk the property. They want to feel it. This business is a very, I have to see it, I have to touch it. Yeah. So even though we can give a lot of the potential buyers their first showing online, their second showing is still going to happen in person.
For sure, all day long. So what I thought I would hear is, because we're stuck in our phone all day long, I mean, everyone's head down, focused on their phone all day, every day. They're walking through the lobby here with their head down in their phone. And they're doing like the news feed scroll or the email check. And our clients, not all of them, but a lot of them are doing text on everything.
Yes.
Right? And if we talked a little bit earlier today, but if you don't see the bubbles on your phone on the text coming back, you're
crickets.
Yeah, crickets. And a minute in text time is like forever, right?
Yeah.
A minute, like, oh my gosh, are they mad? What did I say? What's going on? What's wrong? So that is what I thought the younger people would say, but they really didn't.
They didn't say it at all.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was, guys. If you want, can just put it in the Q&A if the audio is great. I'd appreciate that. Because I don't have Dave on the other telling me. But on that note, in fact, Tony, there was a story about texting that ended up being bad, and you sort of said tongue in cheek, well, they didn't use the emoticon, but that is one of the issues with texting.
I've never heard that story before. So basically, what it was is that one of the realtors on the panel lost a client because he was texting with them, but he didn't add the emoticon at the end.
Yeah, so
and
they didn't
like, what?
They didn't know how to take it. They took it the wrong way. The tonality was wrong, or whatever it is.
So, anyways, that surprised me too.
Yeah, I learned from the girls in the office that if I don't do the emoticons, I seem upset on text.
Yes.
So now almost and if you girls are watching, every time I'm putting it in my phone now with a happy face or a blushy face or a whatever face, you know? It's like that's what they get.
And I think. Oh, that's Raj tweeting. We're heads down. But yeah, you're right, and I think that's one of the things that I actually had a story where I was working on a foreclosure listing, and I had to communicate with the lawyers for the banks only through this sort of email portal, and there was just misunderstanding going back and forth because we weren't seeing it the same way. And I finally just got in my car, drove down to Vancouver, knocked on their door, and sat down for 5 minutes, and the issue was cleared up. There's so much more that can be done just face to face. Something, even on the phone. It's great to have those quick. Texting I love for setting up showings. It's brilliant. Yeah. But there is so much value in the face to face.
Well, I was just going to say, so this right here. So this is why we do conferences, right? I mean, we could talk about global networking all day long. We could tweet about it. We could Facebook about it. But at the end of the day, relationships are developed when you've taken your social and you brought it to the table, right? Now we get to really bond and tell you how cute you look in your shirt. And
Emoticon.
Tell me more.
Right? But I mean, at the end of the day, no matter how much technology or social or communications tools are developed, we still need this. That doesn't ever go away. And I talk a lot about the human connection, and you tap into, the psychology and creating that response, that human response. And I think that that's so key in how we envision our business, and then how we articulate that and communicate that.
What's the face-to-face is like when you're setting up your network, and if you're looking for a realtor referral in another town, I mean, you can either open up a directory or go through the internet and go, oh, this person looks cute or whatever, right? Or hey, I've broken bread with this guy. I've had a drink. I know I know what this person is like,
and I know he cares about his people.
Yeah, I think one of the other things too that they talked about was think beyond the listing. We would all agree that real estate is an extremely emotional purchase, right? Yes. We all agree that we've seen buyers buy a house, walk through the front door, they bought a house. It feels right. So why do you think it's hard for you to, with your emoticons open?
That's Jeremy. That's Jeremy in Orange County. Emoticoning.
That's nice. Thanks, Jeremy.
I
buddy. We all agree it's a really emotional purchase, but when it comes to marketing, when it comes to exposing the property, it goes to a for sale sign on the front lawn, 2.5 baths, we all agree it's emotional, but why shouldn't the experience at every turn pull on that as the deciding factor? Because we've had clients that go, I don't know, I feel this is the one, yet they'll sit and they'll price compare washers and dryers all day long. Yeah. It's weird that we all agree on that, but when it comes to marketing, we go back to the garages 19 by 19, not you can restore an old car with your son in this garage. Ooh, I mean, it's a completely different set of what you're trying to explain. Why do you think that is? That we all agree that, but we just go, it's always been done that way.
I think we're stuck. We're stuck. We're thinking like agents.
Yeah.
That's what happens. We've done all this, for us, the sign's the last thing that happened. So it's the exact opposite of everyone else. They want a signed listing and the sign in the ground.
Yes.
And they want to take a picture with their phone. Boom, I'm on the MLS.
Yes.
No, it's completely opposite. So that's the whole point, is the sign's the opposite. The sign's, it's a Raj sign, right? So it's not about me, right? We're doing all this creative and all this marketing to get the seller. Here's the best thing. Let me start over. We're not shooting videos. We're not shooting videos because we want to be a video production company. We're shooting videos because it gives our clients the best chance of success.
Nice.
That is why.
competitive advantage.
Yes,
Yeah.
a competitive immunity, because for two reasons. One,
Ooh,
against
immunity.
Tweetable.
Tweet.
Tweetable.
against the competition, because they cannot do it, and they will try, but they can't.
Yeah.
But also, for that seller on that street, if there's multiple homes for sale, we're going to stand out.
For sure.
100%. Raj, why did that listing sell in 7 days, and the other 4 on the street have been on 100 plus? Well, let me tell you the story, and this is how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
He said baby steps about getting into video, and you said that way back in 2010 or 2000. Yeah. So you say baby steps, but you've gone and I mean you've gone crazy and in a very positive way. You see it. Did you know when that aha moment that you were right, that this was the answer, or did you have doubts along the way?
No. I knew when that buyer was at the front door of that first home we shot, before the door was open, that it was the right thing. And then when they walk in, they say, "Is this the home that was in the movie?" I knew we were onto something.
And they called it movie.
And they called it movie, not video. Different, right? And they don't do that when they pull a flyer, or we get an email from Realtor, Zillow, or Trulia. It's not like that. This is completely different. And when the family's going in, the kids are picking their rooms, and they're like narrating the parts of the video. It's you're onto something. So.
But baby steps, to you, Tony, you were talking at the Richard Robbins, and you did a great presentation that we want to have you on the show about, talk about buyer's agency agreements. And one of the things you said, I think the question was, how long did it take you to perfect this? And you said 2 years.
Yes.
But that's what it takes to get world class at something, right? I mean, that's what it takes to. I mean, it was something you implemented. You got very, very good at it, and it's ultimately changed the way you guys do your business. But it wasn't the next day you were good at something.
So actually, what that story was I gave a seminar to an office here in Vancouver, and there was a guy sitting in the front, and he said, "How long did it take for you to master this?" And that was never asked me before, and I said, "Oh, it was about 2 years." And he goes, "Well, that's a long time." And I just said, well, you better start now.
Yeah, nice.
Right? Because it all starts, the baby steps. It starts at some point, right?
And that can almost be applied to like a lot of things. And you were very clear. Look, this is the way we've done our business. We can demonstrate very clearly that it has a benefit to the buyer and to you. I found that answer very, very interesting because the reaction is what we get when we talk about the question today about my North Langley. Well, how often do you post? Every day for 3 years. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, like, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do that. I don't want to do it. I don't even think what the ROI of that is, or the results of the effort is. They're out. It's too much for them. But they plan to be on the business in 5 years or 10 years. Like, that's a weird thing that you wouldn't try to flex that. What is that? What is that, Terry, that people go, I'm out? Okay.
Yes.
So what I want to say is I think this conversation, like we keep talking about tools, and we talk about strategies, and we talk about technology, and we talk about social. I mean, we've talked and talked and talked and talked about it. I think we've come full circle, and we're talking again about business and envisioning a business strategy and how, like, where do you want to be long term, not just transactionally this deal, but where am I going long term and what am I trying to build? And I think a lot of agents really struggle with, in my experience, they don't necessarily have business experience. They don't necessarily have that sort of business vision on, how do I structure this? What system? Everybody talks systems, but that's so ambiguous. What does that mean exactly? And so I think they really struggle and they're challenged with that. And that's sort of my passion, is like helping agents who do that. Okay.
Can we?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good. So I just sent Terry a note via text without emoticon.
But the point is, but we don't have to. The point
No,
is
I think it's a perfect time to sort of say it.
Can
you ask? Is that Jeremy?
Yeah, it is.
Jeremy, how's the audio?
Hi, Jeremy.
Jeremy, talk to me, buddy.
How's the audio?
Audio? Can you hear me?
Audio is excellent.
Okay, audio is
thank
excellent.
you.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
So what I actually think is really interesting is everyone at this table has made an investment in their business. First of all, they created a plan, they had a vision, the dream first, right? You got to see it first in order to get it, and then you sort of created your plan on what you wanted to develop, and then you actually did the work and made the investment, and not just the hard work investment, but the financial investment, because you can't build something on nothing.
Right.
And I think people in this industry really struggle with that concept. Is it just me?
No, I don't think it is.
I think sometimes it's accountability. Because I think sometimes you can make a decision to do something. You do buyer agency. If you're on your own and like you don't have people to be accountable to, you might try it for like a couple months and or video. You might try it once or twice and go,
Yes.
oh, I don't know.
This is the way we do it. Like you must have. This is the way we do it on the Tony Joe team.
Yeah.
Because
I need to buy in from the team too. And I think it would be a bad thing to implement this plan and then 6 months later go, I don't know, it's not really working out.
But it also maintains a very consistent experience amongst your clientele. They know what the experience is going to be like. Like here we are at the Fairmont, beautiful experience. I mean, it must be mandated. Here's how we greet our customers. This is what we do at check-in. This is what we do on like that must be a system that you put in place, and that's what it means to be an employee here.
And the hotel's socially active. I mean, I checked in, they replied right back to me. I posted a few pictures. They replied right back. I mean, that's awesome for a hotel.
Yeah, it is.
That's great.
It's like it's alive.
Well,
building
they're
is like-
make it human.
super tuned in with that concierge experience that we always talk about too, which is I think so important. Now, like being on, everybody's talking too about that, being super responsive, like on it that minute, and I'm gonna be a little contrarian, and I'm gonna say, like, do we worry at all about undervaluing ourselves? If we're able to respond that fast, how busy are you actually? And is there a value problem there? Like I don't know.
I've always heard if you call a cabinet guy to do your kitchen and he's available in 2 hours, you don't want him.
Right?
You know what I mean? There is that
Work.
issue,
Yeah.
but it is this thing that they will find someone to get them the information that they want, and that's an interest. Well, it is an interest, Conrad. What do you think about quick response, and how do you think it speaks to your brand?
Yeah, we're just on it. People are texting me now.
Could you do it as a solo agent though? Could you do it as 2 or 3 people?
That's the whole next topic.
Okay, so it just depends what it's about. Okay, it's what the email or the text is about. Is it like here in the moment right now?
Yeah.
And we're in the transaction and I need to respond to you
different.
right now? It's a little different.
Yeah.
Is it a seller lead coming in and I'm getting up from our family dinner table to hit the phone number and call? Is it that? Or is it, hey Raj, just checking in, want to know what's going on?
Right.
Yeah, that could wait, right? So it just depends. And I think you need to be flexible like that. So we engrave to our team, like I told you guys, if I don't see the bubbles, if I'm sending you something and I don't see the bubbles on the phone, like you've got the phone in your hand, most likely that is going to the next stage.
But that's a system. That's just what Tony said. This is the way we do it. If you don't respond, we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. And I'm so sorry, but you'll get the next one.
Yeah.
If you reply, it's just how it is.
Stick with me.
Stick with me. Hang in there.
But that was a common theme. This quick reply. It was a very, very common theme. How do you guys do that? Have you found that makes a big difference or not? Because we are going to talk with Nathan Dart next week. That's going to say that this is key.
So
but the question is it something you guys work on?
I have to say, okay, I didn't know you'd be talking about this, but this is a result of Richard Robbins because I was having a problem with that. Because I have a lead generation system. We get probably 6 or 8 leads a day. Right, and we were doing like the lazy email response, and for 6 months we haven't received anything. So all we did is we shifted and we changed, so we assign leads to certain people on the team, and within it's been 2 weeks or something, we've converted like 2 or 3 leads. So I know the answer is yes, it's got to happen, and it's not me doing it; it's somebody else doing it. So as to a single practitioner, I don't know. I mean, you just need to figure out the.
Well, as a single agent, if you're doing maybe one deal every other month, you could do it.
You have time.
Or you could do it all day long. But if you're an agent who wants to do one a week, right, it's a whole other story.
So, but the other thing that we just talked about was if you're pop-tarting or if you're jumping on things too quick, isn't that a bad thing? But, my thought is I think the consumer just either wants to see a property or they just want to see information. They don't really care.
Well, I mean, and I'll go back on myself and say, how easy is it to instantly just text and say, hey, I'm busy right now. I'll jump on that and I'll get back to you by 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it isn't really that difficult.
We still get people that say, I emailed the realtor. I haven't received a response in 4 days. Like,
well, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too as well. It's this. We want to be busy, but we're not going to do the work. I mean, that seems like that's something we've heard before. We heard today that less than 20% or whatever it was gets responded to. I mean, it's a shocking number.
It's insane.
It's a shocking number. But I want to talk about the instant response thing. We sat on a social media panel today, and we talked about the value of social media. Was the same thing that you talked on the Millennial Gen X panel was the face-to-face to escalating the depth of that relationship. And I'll just tell the story that that I told today was I was having lunch with my father. You guys have heard this. I can speak to them. But I was having lunch with my father, and we have something on our website that if they talk to us on the website, it texts me, and if I text back, it shows up on the screen. So I can have a conversation with someone who's live on our website right now, and I make sure that I respond in words that know that it's not auto responded. It's an actual person. And I said, I'm in a lunch meeting right now. I'll be in touch within that 25 minutes. And it gives me their email address. So my dad went to the bathroom after the. He'll love me saying that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dad. He went to the bathroom. So I was in Fort Langley, and I walked down by the river. It was right there, and I shot a bomb saying, "Hey, got your message? It's great. We know a great agent in the area that you want to refer it to. How old's your client? What are they looking for? What type of personality would they like to be connected with? So on and so forth. Please, you can find all my information below." So they went from text messaging, basically on the computer, to seeing my face and my interaction with them, responding like 20 minutes later, to them calling me when I got in the car with my dad to drive my dad home, and that ultimately responded in a referral that went out to another agent. But my whole hopes was, how can I escalate this relationship to somewhere where we can have a conversation? Like, it wasn't like, I didn't want it to stay at text message. I didn't want it to stay email back and forth. I wanted to get it to a place where I can have a real relationship with someone. And I think that's whatever we do, how you have dealt with your new buyer leads or you buyer leads, ultimately, isn't that the goal, to get somewhere where you can have a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And I love how you do it, and I think you do it intuitively. And
I said bomb, didn't I? Legally obligated to. There you go, guys.
I was going to say, how much do you love bomb?
Yeah, I do.
But anyway, and Raj Qsar. But anyway, but the fact is how you kind of guide people through that sort of process. They don't realize they're being taken by the hand and led down this sort of little garden path where it's going to develop into a point where they're like, "Hey, Michael, can I work with you?" But that's what's happening, and it's very strategic. But I think you do it naturally, very intuitively, and I think honestly, most agents who are really successful, that comes to them quite naturally. They kind of understand that, hey,
that just becomes a habit.
I massage you, I help you, I answer questions, I offer value, I look for opportunities to do that, and then eventually things happen. But you have figured out a way to sort of move that along rather quickly.
Yeah, but ultimately, it's what we've heard from every one of the real successful agents today. I won't put my mind up because there's really great. It was like, value to the consumer, value to the consumer, value consumer, value consumer. It was never, how do I sell this $3 million house so I can put money in my pocket? It was always about, from every one of them, add value, add value, add value. We're talking to agents out there that are doing, that are just trying to pay the bills. How do that, man, we talked about on the show before, the mental shift from going from paycheck to the sign is the last thing I think about. I'm the last person that I think about. Advice on that.
Yeah, so again, it's stopping and realizing that you've got people that you're trying to do a job for, right? So it's not about us and our sign and our cards and our face plastered all over the house. It's about them and their next move. Where are they going? How can you assist them with that next move? Our agents are thinking, like, we're doing this video or these amazing photos or this killer print campaign, not for this house. It's really for the next one that we get.
That's right.
Right? It's
marketing.
that, right? It's a continuation of what we're doing and consistency. So if we're going to execute a strategy on this home, and we're most likely going to succeed on this home, the neighbor is going to know that we're there. We're causing commotion. We're staging. We're shooting a movie. There's some crazy.
They're telling their friends.
They're telling their friends. There's some crazy girl on the piano who was on the Super Bowl commercial. What? What's going on? So they want to know, right? Neighbors are nosy. They just want to know what's going on. They come to the open house. They're like, "Whoa, this one's a little different than ours. What'd you guys do here?" It feels more open. Like, it feels different. Well, yeah, it does, because we boutiqueified it. Like, we did what we did. We just do what we do.
Is that a verb or an adjective? Is that
but the thing is that we thought about it, right? Regardless of who you're with, you've thought about it. You have a plan. Now you're doing the plan that you talked about. So you're sitting at that table, nothing signed. I'm gonna do A, B, C, all the way to Z, and then you actually do it.
Z.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Really great.
And the other thing too, which I know is not part of your MO, but that is, what if another one of the neighbors listed a house for sale with a conventional agent, and they're like, "What? Raj did what?
Can you
He did
imagine
what?
going
He did
up
what?"
next? Yeah.
Well, like,
What's the question?
Yeah, well, and a lot of times
Take a look at the
it goes beyond that. It's like, hey, I had to run to print something out, sign it, scan it, send it. We're like, what?
Yeah, no.
Like, our printer barely even works at the office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Who does that?
you know, like, who does that? Why? And we're at the house showing the home.
Yeah.
Lights on, music on, the birds are singing, the whole deal, right? And the agent 2 doors down, the seller left their work, left their job to show their own homes. I mean, that's the difference. You know, it's like, you hired me to sell your home, so we're going to be there. I don't care where your home is. Someone from my team is going to show that home, as opposed to you leaving your work and showing your own home.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It isn't.
Does that actually happen?
It does happen. It
Really?
does happen all the time.
Questions are coming in. And I've got a neat thing because we just jumped into this. But do you Google AdWords your YouTube videos? Do you have AdWord campaign that runs with your YouTube videos?
Yes.
And oh, okay. Go ahead and talk about that strategy. How does that work for you?
So what's really interesting about Google Ads is that people are clicking on them, and we're basically busting through our ad campaign daily.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've increased our ad, but what I really like about Facebook ads is that when they like it, they're either liking your page and now they're
Retain
engaged
them.
with you
Yeah.
daily.
You
and
can
they're
actually touch them.
You can touch them, and you see that. And you know, if you look at your analytics on Facebook, you know that is male, female, what age group, where they are, all that.
And in the States,
That's cool.
unlike Canada, there's a new one in the targeting of Facebook that's a subsection that's called likely to move. There's a subsection on
Likely
Facebook that
to
is
move.
likely
Yeah.
to move. They've got an analytics, not in Canada. That's interesting. Go ahead.
Okay, and we're doing a bunch of stuff. It's not just our listings and stuff that we're talking about on Google with Google Ads, but keywords and agents and what we're doing within the video itself, in the text and the description,
Yes.
that's helping with SEO
Yes.
and being picked up. So Google alerts are great because I know Google just crawled our site,
Yeah.
and I'm getting that information almost every day.
Yeah.
So I know it's working.
So how many videos or how many views have you had on that piano video?
I don't know. 2,000-3,000, I think, is where
The
it's
reason
been.
why I ask is
Yeah.
because the question is about AdWords, and I was on the line with Melanie
Yeah.
the other day because I said, how did you get 12,000 views
Yeah.
on this Beaufort listing?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yes, and did you know about this?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yes.
apparently it was a mistake.
It was an ad mistake, but I'll tell you what we've done just recently with pre-roll ads, which is the ad that runs before a video, the 5-second where you can skip it. So we do monthly updates like you do, and so what we did was in that first 5 seconds of the video that they're forced to watch, it says, "Hi, I'm Michael Thorne of RE/MAX, Little Oak, and this is your real estate update for North Langley for June 2012." So they get who I am, where I work,
5
and
seconds.
that it's super local, and then it goes into the intro, right? But they're forced to watch that part, and that ad only runs for us in front of videos that has to do with real estate, mortgage renewal, renovations, anything that has to do with the real estate market. So we had in our little neighborhood 1,000 people saw for $4 last month because people didn't click. As long as you don't watch more than 30 seconds, you don't pay a dime.
Yeah.
1,000
Nobody does.
different people heard me say, "I'm Michael Thorne of RE/MAX in your hometown." What's that worth? Just them forcing to hear that when they're looking for real estate. There's these opportunities out there to become extremely hyper-local that I was able to draw a line around just the neighborhoods that I wanted that ad to run in. So you do have the ability to target. You could target an ad that was just for women, and then the other side was just for men. It's just for men. It's a sponsorship issue. That's interesting too that you can get that super hyper local. Did you have to go there, Tony?
Well,
Sorry, go.
they're saying, I don't know, whatever.
They're saying something.
Yeah.
You
We're
can go.
almost done at the end of the show anyway. Let's look. What other?
On the show.
Audio is excellent. Google
Hey,
AdWords.
come say hi to the
Mike.
Wait, Tina's gonna say
coming
hi.
in.
Oh, Tina.
Come say hi.
No, I cannot do
Say hi.
this.
It's the president.
Just say hello.
The president of
Hi.
AREAA, Tina Mack.
Hello. No, I'm not Rockstar. I just need your support. Come here for next year's, and then go on our website, check us out. If not, then talk to all this geek, and they will tell you how fabulous it was. I was the one who say that. They were the one who say that. I love you all. See you later.
Tina Mack, force of nature.
Well, we've talked many times on the show about embracing your personality and being authentic.
She
I think
had
that's
no
exactly,
personality.
No
No.
personality. I think that's
Poor
what
Tina.
just
She needs more energy.
that's what just happened there.
Yeah.
Melanie really is in shock. You've never been to Canada before. That was just posted
Oh,
online.
was it really? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so there you go.
Where is she?
She's in Fort McMurray.
Is that far?
Yes, you don't want
Right
to.
north.
Well, this is, I'm sure it's a lovely city.
That's your next visit to Canada.
Next visit.
Fort McMurray, from Vancouver to Fort McMurray. I'm sure she would love that. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. We're already at almost at an hour.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
want to talk more.
You want to talk about? Oh, you know what? Here. I do want to talk about this because I'm really excited about it.
No need.
Well,
Carry on.
no, I'm curious now.
Oh.
Yeah, you hooked me.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to tell you something very, very exciting. Teri Conrad is going to start a new adventure called Agent Quest. And there's a lot of great coaches out there that take an agent from 125 to 250. But you know, starting out, and you certainly know because we talked about it the other day, that new agent or newer agent that just doesn't have that direction because the traditional brokerage, the broker isn't there to really instill you, and that's what teams and we talked about this last episode, the teams. So, and Teri really, you say bleeds for the new agent. You have a really soft spot for the new
I
agent.
always have, yeah.
And there isn't really coaching for the new agent. So we're actually going to have Teri back on the show soon, but just give people a little flavor, a little bite into what Agent Quest is going to be.
So Agent Quest is really going to be about helping merge sort of the life side and the business side. Design, this is why I love your brand so much. Like your tag is just a guy with a dream, something like that, which I freaking love because I think, but by the way, it's hella more complicated than that. But for the newer agents, and when I say newer, I think like, a year in, I've gotten through my training, I got my business cards. Now what? And I'm stuck. I know I'm ready to go. I'm committed. I've invested. I want to build, but I just don't know how to take it to the, I need leads. I need to start selling some properties. So I have a 6-week program.
But it's really goes through and asks those questions about becoming clear, about finding what your value proposition is. See, the balance. all the things
Finding your voice.
Finding the voice.
Really
It's
developing your own personal brand because that's so, I think, imperative. And it's getting more difficult, frankly, because we're coming up against amazing people who are doing extraordinary things. But I think the average agent, and I hate using the word average, but, defining your own success. Maybe successful to you is being able to stay home with your kids during the day. Maybe that's an important part of the life balance that you're trying to create. And I think there is a stigma, and this is something that I battle in our industry. I don't think success necessarily means you're doing high volume, top dollar. Yes, you are successful, but that doesn't mean that this person over here who has a different design isn't also successful. And so I sort of, those are the people I sort of want to nurture and
It doesn't mean you're happy.
shepherd along.
that's the issue.
Yeah.
Happy is a big one.
Happy is the biggest
happy
one.
Happy really matters, actually.
Someone
Believe it
play
or
the
not.
song in the background? No?
No, we have to pay the royalty rights for it.
Yeah.
But we did talk at starting out too that there's a lot of years that you were doing things extremely different than you're doing them now. And perhaps technology and social and the way we've come to allow you to do what you're doing now didn't exist in 2009. But there was all of a sudden, if you could have done what you're doing now 3 years earlier, you probably would have done it. It just hadn't found you
It
yet.
wasn't there, yeah. I didn't find it. It didn't find me. Whatever it is, it just didn't exist.
Right.
We didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So now that
Things just kind of happen.
it just happened. I mean, Facebook for me just kind of happened. You've heard that
Yeah, that's a
story.
great story.
I mean,
Oh, sure. Whether
well, my wife was on Facebook. I'm like, I come home from work. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, on Facebook. I think it could be good for your business.
Smart girl.
So
Behind every man.
and then a week later, it's a client in the car looking at homes after I'm on there. So it's like
you mean from Facebook?
from
a client,
Facebook,
yes.
a client, so it's which I never would have had, never would have connected
Yeah.
with. So I mean, it's totally different now.
Yeah.
It's so different. So different.
I know we can talk about this, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this conversation offline and we'll continue it. But Tony, you're going to come on the show, right?
Okay.
Is that great?
All right.
Let
All
our
right.
listeners, our viewers know how they can get a hold of you, contact information, Twitter at Tony Joe Victoria.
Correct. At Tony Joe Victoria. I'm on Facebook as well, Tony Joe and Associates, or my YouTube channel, which is also Tony Joe Associates.
With really great market
Is that the market? Are the market updates there?
And updates are there.
Go look at that stuff. It's great. I mean, that was another thing.
It's
The
a great
video
model.
kept on creeping up today. At Raj Qsar, let people know how to get a hold of you in the boutique group.
Yep. At Raj Qsar, RAJQSAR, or at The Boutique RE, and on the web, www.theboutiquere.com.
Check out those videos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, the one that you had the other day with the piano player, I didn't notice you in till today. Is that you walking
That is
through
you.
that?
At the end, around the piano.
No, you walk in with the kids. Don't you walk in with the
No,
kids?
that's not me.
All right. All right.
That's a stunt double.
No, at the very, very end, where it's live and
Yeah.
we're singing,
Yeah.
that was me. And
Okay.
then, yeah.
Okay. At Terry Conrad.
At Teri Conrad, you can Google me.
You can.
Easy to find.
Easy. Love easy.
Just to plug this Friday's show, which I think is going to be a great conversation with Nathan Dart, phenomenal speaker, a phenomenal guy, and he's got a really interesting story. He's got a really interesting
And
journey.
a really good person.
Really good person. And it's like this idea of success is this, but his success is this.
I
It's
love
kind of neat.
Yeah.
So that'll be Friday, June 20th at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern at mobileagenttv.com. Thanks, Dave, for coming on and saying hi to us. I don't know, it's like 10 o'clock your time now. Really
Love
appreciate
you,
it.
Dave.
Dave's amazing.
Hi, Vanessa.
Best co-host in the world. And thank you all for watching. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Raj.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks,
you.
everyone,
Thank
for
you.
watching. And we'll see you. I usually say see you. Oh, I want to do the ending.
Yeah, you have to.
I do have to do that
I
ending?
think you kind of have to.
All right. If you have any referrals heading out to the East Coast of the United States, get a hold of Dave. He'll put you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. Any referrals coming out to the West Coast of Canada, get a hold of me. I'll get you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. And as Melanie Gallia of RE/MAX Fort McMurray wants us to end every show, please tell 5 other RE/MAX agents about the show. We grow every week, and this is fun to do this.
It's
to have
fun.
this really, we should do this more often.
Over drinks?
Over
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
This
my
is very,
God.
very
Yeah.
All day
different.
long.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you in 3 days on Friday with Nathan Dart. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, this is he.